Today, I want to go over the team of our Digital Access for All initiative. And we have 5 members on our team currently. And we also have Kiara Lewis today with us, who's our communications and engagement consultant. And you can see we have other members. And I think it's important to mention who those team members are because a valuable team together makes the initiative that much richer. We have Maribel Martinez, who is our initiative consultant in the digital access world. Michael Zimmerman, who's one of our new TPF fellows and has jumped right into this initiative. And Dr. Lori Stryker, who is our initial initiative manager. This team is very strong, and the team has gotten here through our journey of digital access for all. In June of 2020, we provided a lot of exploration into the digital access initiative. As you know, there was a lot of things going on with COVID-19 at that time. The impacts to individuals, to organizations and communities was actually unknown. And so our initiative was born out of that interest to make sure that our ALICE households, asset limited, income constrained households, had the same type of access as everyone else in the community. So we put together a rather detailed local, regional, state, national perspectives and review of the concepts of digital access at that time. But we focused that in on 2 particular critical questions. Number 1, who else cares about digital access? And what can we do together? Or what are the possibilities? Our team determined at that time that there were 3 essential elements to digital access. And this was done through our review of all of the information and reports. And with Kiara with me here today, she studied all of those reports. Right now we have over 165 different curated reports in our library. And we welcome you to look through those different reports and understand the topic even further. But as they were narrowed down to the 3 essential elements, connectivity, skills support, and devices, you'll see that all of those elements within those were not necessarily equal. In the connectivity area, we have availability, affordability, reliability, and speed. Those are all important aspects of making sure that everyone has access. In the skills and support area, people have various elements and various levels of digital literacy. And so what we found was that the skills building concept was even more important so that people could continue to elevate themselves within the digital access world. And then ongoing support for everyone. It's very limited there. And we have been doing research on how to provide additional support. And then last under our 3 elements under devices, the capability of your device, whether it's affordable or not, and if it has the access that is needed. In our local landscape, we talked about our connectivity and what the providers' costs were. And as you know, in some areas, and you'll find in this particular project, there are limitations. If you're in an urban area, if you're in a rural area, not all providers are equal. Not all costs are equal, and not all services and programs are equal. So for those individuals who struggle to get connectivity, they have to look at different providers and different programs. We also studied discounted programs. Are those programs available? Are they going to increase? And back in June of 2020, as you can remember, there were not very many programs. In those challenges, we found that there were a number of organizations and communities that wanted to elevate their presence in connectivity. And we found especially that there are providers that are willing to work within this space. Over the last year and a half, the national spotlight on these particular connectivity programs has increased. So through some recent work, at the federal level. In our skills and support area, the programs that are needed in order to provide skills for people are limited. And so the Digital Access for All initiative has continued to try to bring people together who provide support and also make sure they understand that the individuals that are accessing the digital technology need to have continual ongoing skill support. Those challenges from COVID-19 have been very, very, very strong, and especially in other areas that a lot of people did not think about. So if you think also about healthcare at this particular time and your ability to visit a physician, a hospital, a doctor's office, you found that that was a challenge. And so telehealth really was raised up for use in this particular time. In order to have a quality telehealth session with your doctor, you've got to have connectivity, you've got to have a device, and you've got to know how to work with it. Many people did not immediately have those types of skill support that was needed. And so when you look at what devices were available as well, is you have school lending programs that have been being reviewed, and schools were really challenged, as you know, to provide devices to their students so that they could continue to work remotely. Access was difficult at that time from a connectivity perspective, and all of these particular concepts in the local landscape have been important. We also found that while many people have multiple devices, and I don't know about you guys, but I have at least 3 devices right now in front of me during this particular session. I have a working laptop, an iPad, and my smartphone. And many people think that the smartphone is the answer. And what we have found, obviously, is that the capabilities of a smartphone do not work, especially for an elementary school student and or their family, if that's the only device that they have. And so as work continues to donate and find organizations that refurbish and provide discounted programs, either on the local, regional, or national level, these are more and more important. So through that, we've all had a lot of creative partnerships. And in that local landscape, the Digital Access for All program moved to what we start to call now the Big Tent concept. We have multiple service providers, and we started off with a collective of our Sarasota and Manatee County providers. Now, we're located in the state of Florida, as you know, in the Sarasota-Bradenton area on the Gulf Coast. So Manatee and Sarasota counties are so close that they overlap. The actual population of these two areas is equally around 425,000 residents in each county. So we have a large amount of people that we're addressing. So this collective began early on, and we began by connecting community-wide leaders throughout those two counties. However, when we went to collaborate with those, we found that a lot of those organizations serviced other areas. And the Patterson Foundation's area is a 4-county area. That includes 2 additional counties, DeSoto County, which is more rural, and Charlotte County. So in the 4-county region, we began to build a coalition of people that cared about digital access for all. That's considered our Big Tent. And you can see here on the screen, we've provided some of our Webersation contacts. We've had 8 of those contacts, and we have brought together over 50 and more individuals and organizations and representatives from a wide variety of people into that Big Tent. All of these creative solutions contributed to our regional perspective on how we've been embracing technology and continuing our Digital Access for All initiative. From that Big Tent, though, really what happened initially into this new year of 21 and now early 22 is a convening of some smaller collaborative groups, and we've called those campfires. Now, we've made a little list of those here on this particular slide, but you can see they involve a wide variety and a wide range of individuals and groups. Our economic development leaders are with us, and they're conveying the importance of us being competitive in various technology industries and employment. Our regional library directors bring forth all of the virtual technology that libraries have grown over the past 2 years under the COVID-19 restrictions. And those are free resources that many people do not utilize. I mean, as a student, I'm sure you utilized a lot of these technologies, but individuals in the community have forgotten the free resources and the elevation of those resources. And so this convening brings forth all 4 of these library managers in the 4-county area, and they're working on a special project to elevate digital access. We've talked to our school districts and their technology departments about the type of technology they're using now, what they will do with that technology, and how it can be utilized for future community support. Your digital service providers, those are your Comcast, your Spectrum, and whatever your provider is in your community where you live now, and what services they're offering. We are beginning to speak to them about these programs. Your local government officials, of course, who right now have a lot of power from, so to speak, with federal funds through the Jobs Investment Act, as well as the American Rescue Plan, that identifies broadband as a special service that can be funded for one of the first times ever in history. We have connections with our state office here in Florida of broadband, and we have a special mapping project going on right now in Florida. And those are going on across the country about where the services are currently located, where the infrastructure is located for access to connectivity, and what types of programs are going on. And once those are brought forward, individuals, communities, and people will be able to participate in a more wide variety of services. And then at the national level, we are working diligently with other digital equity partners. This particular Campfire has an opportunity to be very vast in the standpoint of connecting our local regional partners with opportunities to expand broadband to all of our residents. And then, of course, technology with our business leaders, and most importantly, what work is being done on the foundation level with partnerships along digital access for all and communities that lack digital access, and where funders in our foundations and where we can link people together are so important to keep the idea and concept of digital access on the forefront. After collaborating, obviously, we wanted to move towards solutions in action, and this has been very important. We've been working on this since June of 2020, and so what have we actually done? What have we accomplished? What has happened? Well, this is really important to everyone, especially those big tent partners. In starting off with these solutions, we focused in on a particularly important concept of how to work directly with individuals, and this was the Digital Navigator program. And so the Patterson Foundation and our Digital Access for All initiative moved forward with creating a pilot program. And that pilot program was to accelerate the affordable broadband, computer, and skills adoption among all individuals, but especially across our 4-county region now. And as you remember, we started out with a 2-county region focus, and now we've moved to that bigger tent of our 4 counties, Charlotte, DeSoto, Manatee, and Sarasota counties. We selected, out of a large number of nonprofit agencies, 3 nonprofit organizations to be our Digital Navigator pilots, and they dubbed themselves the Pioneers. They did volunteer for the program, and they did become very interested in the concepts of how it would support their organization. Those 3 organizations were Goodwill Minnesota, Women's Resource Center, and Unidos Now. Unidos Now is primarily a Spanish-speaking organization, and it really was helpful to have this type of organization as we have a growing population of people that have Spanish as their primary language here in our region. And then out of all 3 of those nonprofits, we actually ended with 9 new digital navigators that were specifically trained and certified to help individuals and families to gain access across all programs, not just local programs, but programs across the country that gave them better access to connectivity, to devices, and to skills training. And in fact, also took into consideration other programs that they might be eligible for based on income. So we plan to expand this program. And when we're actually meeting with you in March, our Cohort 2 Digital Navigator program will be underway for another several months before completion. One thing to note about the More Than Money philanthropy approach in Digital Navigators is out of all of these organizations, 2 of our organizations, You Need Us Now and Women's Resource Center, applied for grants with another foundation, the Manatee Community Foundation, and they were funded to continue the program and expand it as well. Additionally, there were some other organizations in our community that also now have the ability to have been funded through foundations for digital navigators. And so this is exciting because it will grow the number of trained digital navigators across our region. Next, I'm going to turn it back over real quick to Kiara Lewis, who has worked extensively on this element of action, our digital access service matrix. Kiara?
Well, as Sherry said early on, we've had many conversations with a lot of different organizations and individuals in our community to see what the need was. And something that kept coming up in those conversations is that people didn't know what others were doing. They wanted to know, but they didn't know how to find out who was giving what, who offered connectivity, who offered devices, or who offered skill support. So they wanted us to kind of figure out a way together. How can we share with each other what services are available? And that's where the idea came up to develop a digital access service matrix. And the purpose of this matrix is to really serve as a go-to resource or a one-stop shop for organizations to use to identify what organizations in Manatee County, Sarasota County, DeSoto, and Charlotte offer one or more of the 3 essential elements.
Thank you, Kiara. We're under right now a reboot of that program to expand actually the number of providers, and it's been very exciting to get more people involved with that. The next area in solutions that we've been working on, which has been really emerging, is the evolving federal legislation. And for the first time in history, as we indicated earlier, a focus on broadband has been a large portion of this. And so in March of 2021, the American Rescue Plan was passed. Now, it's taken quite some time to actually write the rules and regulations for that program, but one of the rules in there does involve expanding broadband, and in this actually coordinated with the 3 essential elements, making connectivity more affordable, making sure that the upload and download speeds are equal to that of what's needed to be successful, and that are more equal amongst people so that a program can't just be offered at a lower price and then individuals do not have the actual same upload and download speeds. And so they focused in some important things that would make digital access more equal amongst everyone. And so as the American Rescue Plan continues through the end of this next year, what you find is that a lot of focus locally in our communities, both at a county level and a city level, are being discussed about who needs access in underserved communities, places where individuals may be in an urban environment where the access is not reliable or it is not, equally shared amongst the cost. And so that has really generated this discussion. Also, though, in May of 2021, the Federal Communications Organization brought forth the Emergency Broadband Benefit. And this was a program that allowed for individuals in a certain income bracket for their family household size to be able to have a service that was provided at a lower rate, but again, equal to the proper speeds and equal to people being able to access it. Now, currently, this is undergoing some modification and becomes a new program that you're going to hear about in just a moment. But this was the first of its kind to be offered across all of the country and not just by a particular provider. And then in November of 2021, a Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act program was brought forth at the federal level, and this brought forward the Digital Equity Act of 2021. And in that Digital Equity Act, this made a lot more areas that were important to broadband focused in. You heard me talking earlier about the Digital Navigator program. And so for the first time ever in the American Rescue Plan and in the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, digital navigators have the ability to be funded and provided in a community. Also, here is where the FCC has transitioned the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program to what's now going to be called the Affordable Connectivity Program. Now, these are all very important programs, and that Emergency Broadband Benefit Program is where we'd like to focus some of the work of the initiative. So in that EBB program, we wanted to emphasize that over 8 million households across the USA have benefited from EBB. And at that time, as we indicated, that was a particular benefit monthly. Now that went to the provider, but they were offering a low cost internet connection service for households that were eligible. Now, the program would also include over 546,000 people from the state of Florida. The Affordable Connectivity Program now will replace the EBB program, and that's in effect as we're speaking right now. And this opportunity to reach more people who could benefit from the program. And the way that benefit is working is that under the new Affordable Connectivity Program, the actual household size and income has been changed from 135% of the poverty level to 200%. And it's so expanding the opportunity for more families in the country to be eligible for the program. Now, the one downside of that program is that under the EBB program, it was a $50 benefit per month to households that went directly to the provider, but then benefited in a lower cost program. And now it's at a $30 a month provider incentive. Now, the positive on that aspect is that now the Affordable Connectivity Program is a permanent program within the bill. The EBB program was a temporary program. We'd like to thank you for joining us for this webinar and allowing us to bring you an overview of the project that we will be working with you on. And we're really looking forward to working as a group and having the ability to raise the awareness of the Affordable Connectivity Program for our public housing residents, and making sure that all aspects of social media and other forms of communication can be utilized to help them. Thank you for joining us.